What's up, guys? Welcome to A Resellers Life. Today I have a special guest, Mel. She's in Australia. So, Mel, before we get into the episode, why don't we tell people a little bit about you and your social media handle so they can find you?
My name is Mel and I am a work-at-home mum. I've got 4 children and you can find me over on Instagram or on YouTube under the name of Back from Burnout.
I love it. So, we got to know each other a little bit on Instagram, and you're trying to scale up to either 1,500 to 2,000 Australian dollars per week profit.
Mhm. Yep.
And I love that. And that's a fantastic goal. And you also have 4 kids.
Mhm.
So I assume, how does it work right now? Are you running the household? How do you fit in your reselling career?
So yeah, I mean, my kids are a little bit older, I guess now, so that helps. I don't have toddlers anymore. The kids are kind of 19, 18, 15 and 10. So I still am busy running them around places and doing stuff, but they're all kind of big enough to pitch in and help me and know that I work from home and give me my space when I need to. So I'm lucky in that respect that I don't have the little toddlers here while I'm trying to do it. But I have worked at home, for the last 20 years. So I have done lots of types of businesses where I've had small kids working around the house.
So before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's talk about why do we have this goal? Because that's a significant income. I'm assuming your family could support itself with that kind of income.
Yeah. I think for me, I've always kind of worked from home and I've never really bought in, my money's never been a full income. It's always just been a little bit to help on the side. And now that the kids are older, I'm at that point where I'm like, no, if I'm going to put this amount of hours into this business, then I really want to be making a full-time income. And I feel like I've got a little bit of a catch up because for years now I haven't been kind of putting into a retirement fund. And, so now it's really important for me to up it to the next level so that I've got more income to help set myself up now for the future.
Love it. So now I want to talk about maybe some constraints. So right now you're working at home, I assume.
Yes.
And do you feel like that restricts you? Do you need more space? Do you need more capital for inventory? What's holding you back from getting to that next level?
Definitely space is an issue. I've taken over about 3/4 of our double garage for our cars is all my eBay listed stock. And then I've taken over the second living area of the family, which is now my office. So I work from like the living room and, it's just totally full of stock and death pile and, it's a mess. So
So,
storage is definitely an issue, but it's also really expensive to go to rent some storage.
so how many items do you have in your store right now, and where's your revenue and profit as of now?
So I've got around about probably close to 2,500 listings, and I've probably got a couple of thousand of unlisted stock here at the moment. So, I do have a lot of stock within the house. And profit wise, I'm probably sitting around about $800 a week profit at the moment. So it's a start.
So to get to that goal, which is let's just say tripling where you're at, I
Mhm.
think that that's a safe place to be because as you grow, usually the sell-through rate drops a little bit. So
Mhm.
let's aim for tripling up your plan. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily have 3 times as much space.
No.
So do you want to increase the sale price of your item and sell a little bit more expensive stuff? Do you want an external space? And of the unlisted stuff, where is that currently?
The unlisted stuff is here in my office. And I did just recently do a large haul. So some of it is in my family room,
Hmm.
but I've kind of given myself a couple of weeks with that. And then I'm going to decide whether or not I need to get some kind of smaller storage system just to put some of the excess stock in. I think long term, I would like to get a storage area to work from. I think it would be great to be able to work outside the house and have it all in one area. But I do know that it's expensive to do it, and I have to really, scale up before I'm at that level, I think, to afford that expense.
Is acquiring stock an issue for you, or do you find it easy to find things to sell?
I find it quite easy to find stock, but most of the stock that is easy for me to obtain here is bread and butter items.
Mm,
There's not a lot of the high end items here in the area that I live in. And, if it is, it's almost too expensive for me to buy as a reseller because the stores are charging too much for it.
mm.
So definitely my business works a lot on volume and bread and butter items because that's what I can source.
So how many items are selling a week now, would you say?
Oh, selling a week. What am I? I'm at about 800, 900 on my 90-day total. So what's that,
Hmm.
about 300 a month?
Okay.
So
So
yeah, I'm sitting
perfect.
about 300 a month. Yeah.
So that's around 10 items per day. Would
Mhm.
you say that's around the amount of items you list each day?
I list more than that each
Okay.
day. I kind of aim for around about 150 items a week.
Okay.
And there's some days where I, list more than others. And it really just depends on the chunk time that I get access to at home to how many I can list. So normally on a Monday, I don't get any listed because I have a really big packing day after the weekend and
Hmm.
the day kind of gets consumed with catching up on a Monday. So then on Tuesday, I'm almost trying to double the amount of listings just to try and catch up. So I'll normally maybe do about 30 or 40 listings on a Tuesday and I keep going. But yeah, I aim for about 150 listings a week.
Do you think you want to batch like 1 day or 2 days listing, 3 days sourcing? Do you feel like it's a little bit each day? What's best for your schedule?
I definitely try and batch
Okay.
and I'll try and do like 2 or 3 hours of photography in one lot. So then I've got photos on the computer. So then if I've got an hour, I can normally get about 20 listings done up in an hour. So if the photos are already done on the computer. So then if I can chunk my time with my photography and sourcing for a few hours, then at least if I've got those photos here, if I've only got an hour in the day, then at least I know I can come in here and get about 20 listings up. And if I've got 2 or 3 hours, then I know I can work for, 40 or 50 listings.
So this is great because I feel like 20 an hour is a great like pace,
Mm-hmm.
and you could do a few more, but then it starts to get uncomfortable and you start making
Yep.
mistakes at like 23 or 24 an hour. So
Yep.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit by asking, let's say I came to help you on Saturday for a full day. You have me for 8 hours. How would you have me help you? Where would I start if I was going to assist you?
I think if I was to get someone in to assist me, the first thing I would look at doing is either teaching them the photography side of it
Hmm.
so that I could focus more on the listing.
So let's assume I
Um,
know all those things. What would I
yeah,
do?
if you were doing that, you would do my photos,
Okay.
and I would also get some help getting picking and packing the orders. I think
Mm.
I would like to focus more on sourcing and listing, and have somebody there to help me picking, packing, putting inventory away, and taking some basic photos.
Okay. So I noticed you have a bin system similar to
Yep.
mine.
Yep.
So where is the bin location in your listing?
It's in the SKU.
Okay. So
Yep.
let's say I'm helping you on Saturday. When I'm
Yep.
done, I can package the items the way you want them and put them back.
Yep.
How do you want your photos taken? Is there a specific sequence each time? How are the photos taken?
I do tend to use a sequence because I just find if I get into a system, then I
Hmm.
get into more of a rhythm. And once I'm in that rhythm, I'm in that flow and it just becomes more productive and I can get more listings done. So when I do photograph items, I do notice that I always photograph in the same order, like it's like a front, a
Hmm.
back, and then if it's clothes, then I'm laying them, front, back on the hook, and then I lay them down on the ground and I take a photo with the tape measurement on the waist,
Hmm.
and then I flick them over and take the pockets and the sizing and the inseam. But I do tend to take everything in the same order, same as when I do shoes. It's always the same 1, 2, 3, 4 soles. Like it's always the same order that I'm taking the photos.
I even think that, so for me, when I take photos of shoes or clothing, I try to hypnotize myself. So I'm going front, front, back, back,
Yep.
side, side,
Yep.
measurement, measurement, detail, brand, and then size maybe, and then move on. So
Yep.
that's awesome. You've got a great system.
Yep.
So let's talk about what's preventing you from getting someone to come help you.
Oh, I think one, it's just that fear of committing to that expense, maybe, like at the level that I'm at, I'm kind of like, most of the money that I can bring in for myself, like I'm trying to use that to pay off like family debt and
Hmm.
different things. So it's, I guess the big thing is the expense, and another thing I think is just bringing somebody into my space and trusting them with my business. And I don't know, I have that fear that somebody's going to steal my idea, or it's not that, I mean, I'm out here sharing everything about selling on reselling, but I guess once you invite them into your space, they see everything very personally, exactly what you're selling and all the little details. And I guess there's a little bit of fear there.
So with such a large family, do you ever consider enlisting, making this more of a family business?
I have tried. The kids are not interested. None of them are interested. I've tried to get them on board to see if some of them, if one of them can pick for me on a Sunday, if
Hmm.
they can help me with some photos, but they're just not interested. And my husband works 6 days a week. He's a carpenter, so he's not really, he will help me carry things in and help build shelves and all that kind of stuff, but he's not actually interested in the day-to-day running of the reselling.
So what do you think? The person that's helping you take photographs, do you feel like this person is just doing it for extra money and they have a job? Or let's talk about an ideal candidate for you.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
this somebody who only works for you or they have a profession? You mentioned maybe you're afraid of showing them how the business works. From my experience, I think that running an online store is much harder than people think.
Mm.
But again, you can pick people who will never compete with you.
Yes. Yeah, I
Um,
think that's where it becomes that, if they come in and they see my space and everything that I'm buying, and they're going to go out themselves and try and source exactly the same items. So there's that little bit of fear. But I think ideally I'd probably be best to look for even like a uni student that could come in and help me between uni, because then I know they're busy studying for their degree. And even if they wanted to do some reselling, it would be more of a side hustle, and that wouldn't impact me at all.
I recommend that because my photographer is in nursing school.
Right.
She has no interest in doing this on her own ever. She's just
Yep.
going to do it um, part time with me and call it a day.
Yep.
And she also had a store and decided it was too hard with school.
Yep.
So I think that's important to find it. So also, one thing that's really helped me is only working with people who have been in the food business before,
Okay.
because quick serve is very difficult. Starbucks, McDonald's, it's fast paced. It's detail oriented. It's customer focused,
Yep.
and they're going to be used to that pace.
Yep.
If you give them the instructions, have you tried having someone help you?
I did. The only person I've tried was my daughter at one stage, and she did a few hours of photos for me. But I was a photographer in my past, before I did eBay reselling. So for me to outsource the photography was actually really quite hard, because she was using the phone and I was using the big camera, and
Mm.
you know, her attention to detail was so different to mine. And like, I really struggled to let go of that. But I think that's one of the hardest tasks when you're used to doing everything yourself, is actually let going of it and realizing that nobody's probably going to do it to exactly the same standard as you. And it's just getting it done over perfection.
How do you feel about hiring a photographer to do it, like a wedding photographer or someone with experience?
I think it would be too costly. I really do think that it would be too expensive for me for the type of photos that I want. I think it would be too expensive to hire an actual professional.
How do you feel about pace? What would you expect from a photographer per hour? How many items?
Oh, I would probably be looking similar, depending on what the item is. If it's clothing, it's going to take longer than if it was media and books and CDs and DVDs. And shoes obviously takes a little bit longer as well. I think if I was looking to hire somebody to come in for like a couple of hours, then I would want, 40, 50 things at least photographed in a couple of hours. I like to go fast. So I would struggle if I had somebody who was working for me and they worked at a lower pace than me, because I do like to hustle and work quickly.
This makes me wonder. So do you think you'd prefer a few days a week or one big day?
Sometimes I think just having somebody even come in on a Monday would be really helpful for me, because that's like my busiest day of the week. And what I'm finding now is that because I spend so many hours now picking and packing after the weekend, that I don't get a whole lot of anything else done that's actually making me money for the business. So I think having somebody come in on a Monday to help pick and pack the orders, and then if they were here for like 5 hours, in 5 hours they'd be able to pick and pack and maybe get a couple of hours of photography done for me, and that would be a good start to the week.
I
Yeah.
agree with that because then you would have all those photos banked and
Yep.
you could list them throughout the week and you're
Yep.
already working in the space.
Yep.
So let's try that. I'm going to challenge you. I would like you to hire someone for just a Monday.
Okay.
And I think when you do that, you actually get a much higher caliber person than a full-time or part-time position.
Hmm.
Hire for help one day. Even you might get I've had a lawyer and a doctor apply for just a 1 day extra money.
Yep.
And those people have much higher, those occupations have higher attention to detail.
Yes.
The doctor took photos that were much better than me. And
Okay.
even though it was a slower pace, I'm okay with that. If the pictures are excellent, then
Yes.
that's one thing I can accept if it's going to be slower.
Yes.
Um,
Because with my daughter, she went quickly, but I felt like I had to redo all the photos that she did. So
that's
then it
right.
was like a waste of time.
It makes sense. I
Yeah.
would say give them a few opportunities to try to do it because there's a bit of a learning curve for photographs, especially.
Yep. Yep.
Also, I would put in the ad, send me a sample with your item on the floor.
Okay.
And you can usually tell by the way that they center their photos if they're going to be a good match. I've had people nail that.
Okay.
And then when they come in, it's a breeze.
Right.
So let's talk about the picking and packing. Do
Hmm.
you think that's inefficient? Can we reduce the time with that?
I definitely think it's inefficient of my time, because I, I I can do more valuable things in the business that can make me more money
Hmm.
than simple picking and packing of the orders. It's not hard to I don't have anything that's difficult to wrap and post and fragile. Most of my items are just clothing, shoes, books, media. So it's all very simple stuff that, maybe something needs a slight bubble wrap, but it's quite a easy task that anyone could do.
So I don't know much about Australia Post.
Mhm.
It is eBay work with multi-label shipping in Australia as well, or do you do them one at a time?
We basically go in one at a time and do them into we've got two systems. We can either print our eBay labels directly from the eBay website, or we
Hmm.
can use the Australia Post website, which gives us more of a discount, but it's a little bit more time consuming. You have to kind of go in and make sure the address is all correct and tick a few extra boxes, and it's a little bit more fiddly. But it saves a little bit of money.
Is there a third party software that could make it faster? Do you know?
No, I don't think so. No.
Hmm. How long do you think it takes you to pack an item?
It doesn't take me long to actually pack, but like on a Monday, I normally
Mhm.
have around 70 parcels from like Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. I
Mhm.
quite often have like about 70 things to pick and pack. So it can take me anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours. So it can be quite time consuming, but I'm kind of trying to get into a rhythm now over the weekend that when an order comes through, that I just quickly go out to the garage and pick it and put it to the side. So then on Monday, they're already picked. I just have to print the orders and wrap and package them.
So this is my second challenge for you. First challenge is somebody coming on Monday to help you for the full day.
Yep.
Number two, I'd like you to get your picking and packing and shipping to 1 minute a package. I'd like to challenge you to do 60 in 1 hour, which is about my pace.
60.
So going through, I think that I have to use 3 different websites to get the fastest type of shipping. Because on
Okay.
one for first class mail here in the US, the eBay site, I can do more than one label and it's the same price as the third party. But
Okay.
on for cubic shipping here, I have to use a different website. And then also I'm using a third service for heavier items. So,
Hmm.
but those systems are clearly written out. I think if we can shave off, we can condense that to 2 hours, that would be great.
Yes.
Do they come and pick up at your home or do you have to drop it off?
No, I have to drop it off, but the post office is very close to my home. It's only like a few minutes drive, and they're really good to me at the post office. They let me just kind of bring all my parcels in bulk and then
Mhm.
leave them with them, and they deal with it. So I don't have to manually sit there at the desk handing them all over and waiting for them to scan them. They'll let me just bring them in a trolley, and they take them out the back and they sort them when they can.
How about your listing flow? You happy with the way that you list things?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with my listing because I think I work pretty fast listing because I do batch it. So everything when I sit down to list, I'm definitely in that workflow because everything has already been done prior. All the photos are done. It's just pretty much sit here and list. And I have a few tabs open so that I can copy and paste.
Hmm.
And so I'm copy and pasting descriptions and things so that it's all very quick.
Do you use Sell Similar?
Yes.
Okay. And you have a template for measurements.
I don't, but what I do with my measurements is I actually use the tape measure and I take the photo with the tape measure. So I lay say I'm doing a skirt, I lay the skirt down flat on the ground. I put the tape measure on top of the skirt's waist
Hmm.
and I take the photo of it. And if I'm doing an inseam of the leg, then I put the tape measure on it and I take the photo of it. And then part of my description just says, see the photos for measurements.
Excellent. I love that because that saves time and it's a good experience for the customer.
Yeah. And then they
Um,
can't come back to me either. If they come back and say it doesn't fit or the measurement was wrong, there's an actual photo of it so they can say, well, the photo of it there shows the exact measurement. So it really helps me, I think, with returns. I don't get very many returns. And I kind of feel like by having the photo in there, I don't miss forgetting to type it in or anything like that.
so let me ask you, if you were going to improve your listing process, what's one thing you could do to make it more efficient or one thing that could make it um, even better?
My listing process.
It's a tough one. Maybe it's pretty clean.
I think my listing process is pretty clean. I think I get a little bit stumped with, like, I get into that flow of taking a lot of photos and then filling, before I put it away, I let it gather into like a big, like, so my room here gets full of all the photos because I photograph in
Mm,
such a batch. So then I have to go and spend quite a bit of time moving it all back into into the inventory system. Whereas I think that sometimes lets me down a little bit and gets on top of me because then I'm surrounded by stuff that needs to get put away.
so
So
you list with the item in hand?
no, I list using the photos.
Okay.
So basically, once I take the photos, the item gets put into the tub, or if
Mhm.
it's like a book or a media item, then I normally kind of put it on the floor here and then take it in and put it into the SKU system. Because if I'm doing books, then it goes under the author, like alphabetical order of the
Mhm.
author and stuff. So I have shelves for different A, B, C, and different boxes for DVDs and CDs and stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
So for me, during the photo process, there's a couple ways we do it. Either we enter in item specifics during the photographs
Yep.
with the computer right there at the photo station, or we put them away. But regardless, it always gets put away right after the photo process.
Right.
There's not stuff around, but I can see how that might take up
Yes.
more time if it's physically around you.
Yes, because I think what happens is I get that chunk time and then I have to race off and do like a school pickup, or I have to go here, or I have to do that, something else. And so I get distressed. So I'm focused on getting the photos done, knowing that they're on my computer, and then think I'll deal with the mess later on. But then it kind of banks up on me and
I
then it
see.
becomes a little bit overwhelming. And yeah,
So you haven't had a chance to put them back.
no,
Are they packaged in
yes.
Okay, so do you think it'd be better for you mentally to put it away first?
Yes, definitely. I
Okay.
definitely do. It's just, I think it's just the one habit that I haven't formed. Like, I feel like I'm very good with habits and systems, but that's the one habit that I seem to just get distracted by and focus my time on doing those photos and then think, yep, I'll put all this away later when I come back home or something. And then it's something else happens and comes up with the kids and it's still sitting here when it's time to go to bed.
So this is awesome because I think everyone should have reseller friends. This is
Yep.
kind of a lonely endeavor, and you're on your YouTube channel sharing your journey with everybody.
Yep.
But this is how I think people should structure their conversations with people. Mel and I just spoke for a few minutes, and we came up with 3 ideas. Try to hire someone on a Monday to come help you while you're packing on your busiest day. Try to get your packing process down to a minute per item because that's where I'm at. And then you need to put away items before listing so you can have that mental clarity and not have to worry. Those are
Yep.
3 ideas that you can execute. So I actually want to continue this conversation on your YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So let people know again where they can find you. And then the second part 2 of this episode is actually going to be on Mel's channel. So I'll include that information in the link below.
Yep. So my channel is called Back from Burnout. And yeah, you can find me there on YouTube. And I think I'm probably the only channel called Back from Burnout. Anything
Awesome.
near it. So yeah,
All right, guys. Until next time, make progress daily and click and subscribe to Mel's channel as well. We'll see you over there.
thank you.